Along the U.S. southern border, thousands of migrants waited again today.
And the surge of migrants, coupled with the fact that shelters and facilities are at capacity right now.
In this fiscal year alone, Customs and Border Patrol have encountered more than 2 million migrants, breaking the record previously set last year.
We do not have the volunteer base right now to establish a shelter. We don't.
I've never seen anything quite like this.
Border Patrol officials telling ABC News they are at capacity and have to send migrants elsewhere along the border.
The deputy city manager of El Paso says federal help is desperately needed in his city.
What I'm concerned with is, are we going to be able to process them?
Right now, there are no Border Patrol agents out in the field. Everybody is in processing centers.
Hi, friends. The United States was founded on the belief that all people are made equal and that we all have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Historically, when waves of Irish, Italian, and Germans arrived in the U.S., they were looking for economic opportunity and were given the freedom to build whatever their hearts desired. What resulted is a nation with an average household income of $70,000 and over 10 million job openings, making it very desirable for anyone with the determination to improve their lot in life. And we are not shy about it either. U.S. culture is exported to every corner of the globe. There's not a single country on earth where you cannot find American movies, clothes, or music. There can be no doubt that the U.S. is seen as a beacon of freedom and opportunity to the rest of the world. So with all of the freedoms, the fame, and the job openings, it's not hard to see why over 2 million people walked to the country in 2022. 2,208,674 immigrants were picked up along the U.S.-Mexico border, to be exact. Out of those, just over 1 million were immediately expelled under Title 42, the Remain in Mexico policy, which allows Border Patrol to expel immigrants without a court order. About 200,000 more people were found to be inadmissible for one reason or another. That leaves about 1 million people from countries that are not excluded from Title 42 and need to be processed here in the United States to determine their immigration status. That's 1 million people that need food, 1 million people that need a bed, and eventually 1 million court decisions that may require as many as 5 appearances. Many people coming to the U.S. have family they could stay with, but moving across a new country while potentially not even knowing the language can be difficult and dangerous. Personally, I think anyone willing to travel thousands of miles just for the opportunity to work should be accepted. The U.S. was built on these kind of highly motivated individuals. But that's not enough. I want to make an immigration system that we can all be proud of. Not the jumbled mess of local, state, and federal laws that often contradict and seem to change every 4 to 8 years. As things stand right now, the states along the southern border are barely able to handle the numbers of people crossing, and as a result have become more and more antagonistic towards immigrants. Within the next year or so, Title 42 will be lifted and the number of people entering an already overloaded system will skyrocket, increasing the chances that people and families get lost, separated, or otherwise neglected by the system. So when I heard back in April that Texas, followed by other states, were sending busloads of immigrants to their destinations further inland, I thought it was a great idea. I said, "Whoopee!" Unfortunately, the states organizing the free bus rides didn't have much experience with public transport, and as a result, were only able to move about 16,000 people in the past 8 months, and every trip having at least a few people that were going to the wrong destination or separated from medicine and luggage along the way. If we can fix those problems and make some improvements, this program might be just what the U.S. needs to start taking pride in our immigration system again. Not only can migrants get a safe and comfortable ride, but the workload of processing all these people could be spread out over the entire country, helping relieve a lot of the burden from already overstressed facilities along the southern border. So, if we're smart, how would we do it? Well, let's face it, the problems with people going to the wrong places and being separated from their luggage can be fixed very quickly if we take control away from these ineffective governors and appoint an experienced group of people to handle the logistics. After that, posting schedules in a few different languages along with maps of the routes on signs or in a building near the pickup spot should drastically reduce the mistakes on the migrant buses. We would need to use the big cities as hubs, so cross-country travel could use the same few routes, reducing traffic and lessening impact on local municipalities. We would really only need a few routes. One for the West Coast, one for the East Coast, a couple running up and down the Midwest, and then one route from Florida to California and another one from New York to San Francisco. That should cover most of the country. And hey, if we're already giving buses a set route, it might be wise just to build them their own lane so they could speed across the country, getting passengers to their destination faster. Makes sense to me. The number of immigrants actually goes up and down quite a bit throughout the year. There will be times when very few people are being sent from the border, and having mostly empty buses traveling across the country is expensive. So, to prevent wasting fuel, we could open up this travel service to all Americans. For a small fee, of course. Only about 40 people can fit in a bus, so if we don't want an endless stream of buses congesting our roads, the US will probably need to build a new fleet of buses with the capacity of a few hundred passengers each. But no one in the world makes a coach that big, and the cost of developing one would be prohibitively expensive. So, instead of doing all that and building a dedicated lane, we might as well just put the whole project on rails and use a train. Choo-choo! Of course, more immigration facilities would need to be built across the country, but the benefits of spreading things out would be almost immeasurable for both the immigrants and the southern states. We would see less resources needed for those states and less immigrants being stuffed into overcrowded facilities. It sounds expensive, but similar rail projects have been projected to create hundreds of thousands of jobs and return $4 in revenue for every $1 spent. So it would actually add money to local, state, and federal pockets. So now let's take a step back and look at what we've built. A national project creating hundreds of thousands of new jobs. It would relieve stress on the southern border. It would help immigrants get to where they're going faster and safer, all the while creating a transportation system that is capable of sending hundreds of passengers on regular cross-country voyages at high speeds. We could call it something like the United States high-speed rail system. Now that would be something we can take pride in. I don't know. This is just what I think about. Thanks for spending some of your day with me, and I hope you all are having a good time. Don't forget, the Falklands belongs to Argentina.